You ever see a general explain himself to a foot soldier? Exactly. He doesn't yell. He doesn't plead. He moves with clarity. That's what most men forget. Real power doesn't perform. It's quiet. It's composed. It doesn't need approval, applause, or the last word. In this video, we're not talking about ego. We're talking about discipline, the kind of inner command that makes your silence more dangerous than anyone else's noise. This isn't just daily motivation. This is a mindset reset, because too many men think barking louder earns respect. It doesn't. All it proves is that you're still seeking permission. The man who knows his worth doesn't need to argue. His energy already answers the question. So if you're tired of clapping back, tired of trying to be understood by people who don't matter, this one's for you. Let this video remind you how to move like a man who has nothing to prove and everything to protect. Drop a comment. What battle are you choosing to walk away from? Not out of fear, but out of power. Watch to the end. This isn't noise. This is your standard now. Presence over performance. Stop explaining yourself. A lion doesn't roar to prove he's a lion. He just walks. Calm, silent, untouchable, and every animal in the jungle feels it. That's what real men have forgotten. See, most of you were raised in a culture that taught you to prove everything. Prove your worth. Prove your value. Prove your masculinity. You're trained to respond, to defend, to argue, to justify. But here's the truth. The more you explain yourself, the more power you give away. When someone disrespects you and you feel the urge to fire back to match their tone, to put them in their place, that's not strength, that's reaction. That's letting someone else control the thermostat of your mind. And the second they can do that, you're not leading anymore. You're being led. You're being baited. Disrespect doesn't always show up as a slap in the face. It's subtle. It hides in sarcasm, in little jokes in front of a crowd, in dismissive tones, in the way people challenge your manhood without ever saying your name. And when you take the bait, when you raise your voice, argue, explain you've already stepped into their arena. That's not where kings fight. Real men stay grounded. They don't play chess with pawns. They don't wrestle in the dirt just to protect their ego. They stand on discipline. They speak with action, and they keep their energy for the battles that actually matter. That's the kind of daily motivation this world needs. Not the motivational scream, not the performance, pep talk, but the daily reminder that real strength looks like restraint, like silence, like measured movements, and intentional distance. Because a man who needs to be understood by everyone will compromise himself for anyone. Here's the truth. Most arguments are ego traps. They're designed to pull you out of alignment, to test your pride, to make you feel like you have something to prove. But the moment you try to prove yourself, you've already lost the game. You've lowered your standard just to match someone else's dysfunction. That's not dominance, that's desperation. You want to be respected. You want to walk into a room and shift the energy. Then stop performing and start embodying. Carry yourself like a man who knows the value of his presence and knows it's not available to everyone. Discipline is your posture. Self-control is your weapon. Silence is your shield. And no, it's not easy. Because your ego wants to roar. It wants to clap back. It wants to win. But kings don't win arguments. They win by not needing to have them in the first place. So the next time someone tries to bait you into proving yourself, don't just pause. Let the silence thicken. Let your stillness speak. Because that moment, the one where you choose peace over pride, that's where power lives. Now let me ask you something. What's one situation you've been arguing in that you're now ready to walk away from? Drop it in the comments. Say it out loud. Claim it. That's your first step to becoming unavailable for nonsense. In part 2, we'll break down exactly how emotional manipulation works and how people use your reactions against you. It's time to expose the game and make sure you never fall for it again. Stay sharp. Stay grounded. Let's keep building the emotional trap. They want your reaction. Understand this. When someone disrespects you, they're not just insulting you, they're inviting you. They want a reaction. They want you triggered. They want you off-center. Because the moment you react, they win. Most people don't understand the game they're in. They think it's about words, about who claps back harder, about who dominates the moment. But that's surface-level thinking. The real game. It's psychological. It's emotional. It's about control. And if someone can provoke you, they control you. Think about it. What's the quickest way to lose respect in a room? Lose your temper, get loud, start swinging emotionally. The people who once looked to you for strength now see instability. Unchecked emotion is weakness in disguise, and the world is watching. Not just your enemies, your family, your peers, your woman, your kids. They're all taking notes, watching how you carry yourself, observing what gets to you, what rattles you, what pulls you off purpose. That's why emotional discipline isn't optional. It's essential. Because manipulation doesn't always come with shouting. Sometimes it comes with silence, with passive digs, with a smirk, with disrespect wrapped in humor. And if you respond to all of it, you'll waste your energy proving things to people who were never worthy of your explanation in the first place. This is how they trap you. Not with the first comment, but with the hook, your reaction. And here's the dangerous part. Your reaction doesn't just cost you the moment, it costs you momentum. It derails your focus, it consumes your day. You spend hours replaying what you should have said, how you should have handled it, how they wronged you. Meanwhile, they've moved on, and you're still carrying their energy. That's not strength, that's self-betrayal. You see, daily motivation isn't just waking up early or hitting the gym. It's waking up to your own patterns. It's catching yourself before the slide. It's being so in tune with your mission that nothing and no one gets to pull you out of alignment. Not a critic, not a hater, not even someone you once loved. Because the moment you let someone else set your emotional tone, you've handed them leadership over your life. And that's not how kings move. So what's the answer? Pause. Before you reply. Pause. Before you swing back. Breathe. Before you try to prove a point. Ask yourself, who is this for? Because most arguments aren't about truth. They're about ego. They're about needing to be seen, needing to be right, needing to win. But what if you didn't need any of that? What if you were so grounded in who you are that even disrespect couldn't move you? That's real power. Let people talk. Let them throw shade. Let them question you. If you're locked in, you don't need to respond. You just continue building, continue moving, continue rising. And eventually their noise fades under the weight of your consistency. So here's your challenge. What's the emotional bait that usually gets you? Is it being disrespected in front of others? Is it being misunderstood? Is it being ignored? Call it out in the comments right now. Don't hide from it. Name it. Because once you name it, it loses power over you. In part 3, we'll go deeper into the weapon most men overlook, silence. Not as avoidance, but as a strategy, as a message, as a statement of absolute control. You're not here to be reactive. You're here to lead. Let's keep going. Silence is a weapon, the art of holding power. They want noise from you. They expect it. They've built their entire playbook around your reaction. But what they can't handle, what shakes them at the core, is your silence. Silence isn't weakness, it's warfare. The average man is loud. He gets baited. He barks back. He explains himself. He needs the last word like it's oxygen. But the man who's mastered himself, he doesn't give you what you're looking for. He gives you nothing, and that nothing echoes louder than 1,000 comebacks. Here's the truth. People expect resistance. They expect attitude. They expect you to fight back, defend, justify. They're prepared for chaos. What they're not prepared for is a man who stands still, says nothing, and stares right through their performance. Because silence exposes people. It forces them to sit with themselves. It reflects their own insecurity back at them. It makes them guess what you're thinking, and in that guessing, they start to unravel. Silence makes them uncomfortable, and that's the point. See, when you speak too quickly, too often, or too emotionally, you reveal your position. You expose your weakness. You tell the world exactly what gets to you. But when you hold silence, when you respond only with presence, you remain untouchable, unreadable, unshakable. And that makes you dangerous. This is a core principle of high-level masculinity. Presence speaks louder than noise. When you walk into a room and don't say a word, but people feel something shift, that's power. And that power doesn't come from posturing. It comes from self-respect, from boundaries, from the discipline to hold your energy instead of wasting it on emotional exchanges that go nowhere. Let me be clear. Silence isn't passive. It's precise. It's not about avoidance. It's about control. It's about choosing not to speak, because the conversation isn't worth the cost. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every confrontation deserves your energy. You want daily motivation that actually moves the needle. Learn to say less. Learn to let your silence speak for you, because when you stop reacting, people start watching. They feel your restraint. They sense your standards. They begin to understand that there are levels to this, and you don't come down just because they're uncomfortable. That's what separates the masculine from the emotional. The man who can hold silence in a storm is the man no one wants to go to war with. So how do you sharpen this weapon? Simple. You train your pause. The moment you feel triggered, you breathe. You don't fire back. You don't try to win the moment, you observe. You collect data and you respond later if it's even worth it. You build the habit of not needing the last word. You stop talking just to be understood. You start moving in alignment with your standards, not your emotions. Because words are cheap, presence is currency, and the man who knows his worth doesn't argue, he ascends. So let me ask you, when was the last time your silence shook a room? When was the last time you chose calm over conflict and walked away with your pride intact? Comment below. Speak it, own it. Let that be your new baseline. In part 4, we're going to address what most men get wrong about walking away and why distance, not confrontation, is the true power move of the disciplined man. You don't need more noise, you need more precision. Let's keep building. Walk away like a king. When silence turns into movement. They'll tell you walking away is weakness, that turning your back on disrespect means you've lost, that silence means defeat. They're wrong. Walking away isn't weakness, it's strategy, it's self-control, it's power in its most disciplined form. See, most men stay too long in situations that drain them. They stay in arguments they've already won just by showing up with integrity. They stay in rooms where their worth isn't recognized, trying to convince people who were never capable of seeing them clearly. Why? Because their pride is louder than their purpose. But here's the truth. You don't owe anyone your presence, especially not when your presence is being disrespected. Walking away is not about running. It's about rising. It's about deciding that your energy is too valuable to be spent on empty conflict ego games or petty exchanges. It's about protecting your purpose, not defending your pride. You don't see kings stop to explain their crown. They don't lower their voice to match disrespect. They walk straight, focused, undisturbed. And when they leave, the room shifts. People feel the absence of that presence. That's what walking away does. It sets a boundary not with words, but with movement. It says, I don't belong here. Not because I'm better than you, but because I've built something too solid to have it torn down by noise. This is daily motivation. Most men won't tell you because it's not flashy. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's quiet. Execution. You want to know why walking away is so hard? Because it requires restraint. And restraint is the rarest kind of strength. Anyone can argue. Anyone can bark back. Anyone can trade insults. But very few men can measure the moment, feel the fire, and still choose peace. That's not cowardice. That's calculated dominance. Let's be real. What do you actually gain by staying in the fight? What's the payoff for going back and forth with someone who only wants to pull you out of character? You don't gain respect. You don't win anything lasting. All you gain is momentary ego inflation and long-term energy depletion. You came to build something bigger than that. You came to lead, to evolve, to build a mind, a life, a legacy that doesn't rely on constant defense. And sometimes the greatest power move you can make is to leave them talking while you keep walking. So here's the shift. You don't need to win every moment. You don't need to finish every fight. You don't need to respond to every shot fired. Because the man who walks away with his focus intact, his mission undisturbed and his soul unshaken, that man is already 10 steps ahead. While they're still shouting in place, he's already in motion, and motion beats noise every time. You want people to feel your standard. Stop telling them what it is. Show them through what you tolerate, through what you walk away from, through what you no longer argue with. And here's the challenge for you. Comment below. What situation, relationship, or habit do you need to walk away from to rise into your next level? Name it. Write it. Cut the cord. Because the truth is, when you respect yourself enough to walk away from the wrong thing, you make space for the right thing to find you. Power doesn't chase, it chooses, and you are now choosing differently. In part 5, we bring it all home. Because this entire journey, silence, restraint, emotional control means nothing if you haven't built a foundation of self-respect. That's the final shift when you no longer seek it from others because you've already earned it from within. Let's finish strong. Self-respect is the crown. Own it without saying a word. You've heard the saying, respect is earned. But here's the deeper truth. Self-respect is the foundation. Without it, no one else's opinion, approval, or recognition will ever satisfy you. And when you don't have it, the world can smell it. People watch how you treat yourself. They observe what you allow, what you tolerate, how you carry your time, your energy, your word, and whether they know it or not, they respond accordingly. The truth is, if you don't enforce your value, no one else will. Real self-respect doesn't come from loud declarations. It doesn't come from flexing on social media or puffing your chest when someone challenges you. It comes from what you do in private when no one's watching. When you wake up early because you said you would. When you finish what you start. When you walk away from conversations that cost your peace, not because you're scared, but because your time is too expensive to waste. That's real power. And that's when people start noticing you without you needing to say a word. That's when your silence has weight. That's when your presence sets the tone. Daily motivation isn't just about energy. It's about alignment. It's about building a life where your actions match your identity, so you don't have to keep trying to convince people of who you are. Let them think you've changed. Let them misunderstand you. Let them throw shade. Because the man who's anchored in self-respect doesn't flinch. He doesn't shrink. He doesn't perform. He just moves forward on mission, with clarity, without compromise. There's a point in every man's life where he has to decide, am I done chasing approval? Or am I ready to embody my worth so deeply that the world either rises to meet me or gets left behind? Because when you respect yourself deeply fully without needing applause, something beautiful happens. Disrespect doesn't touch you the same way anymore. It still exists, but it doesn't land. It doesn't hijack your peace. It doesn't draw you into reaction. You don't fight petty battles because you've got bigger wars to win. That's the shift. That's the crown. And no, you don't explain crowns, you wear them. So here's your final challenge. Comment below with one non-negotiable standard you're setting for yourself this season. Not for likes, not for approval. For you, for your legacy. For the man you're becoming, because that's what kings do. They don't chase the crowd, they set the tone. They don't talk about the throne, they build it. And they protect it with discipline, with silence, and with self-respect that never wavers. This isn't about being feared, it's about being felt. Now ask yourself this, are you moving like every other man? Or are you moving like the one who doesn't need to speak to be heard? The crown doesn't come from being loud. It comes from being undeniable. What you just heard isn't about ego. It's not about dominance. It's about mastery over your emotions, your energy, and your identity. The loudest man in this room is rarely the one in control. True power lives in silence, in restraint, in the standards you live by when no one's watching. This is your daily motivation. You don't have to raise your voice to raise your value. You don't have to argue to prove your worth. And you never have to beg for respect when you've earned your own. Walk with discipline. Speak less. Move with intention. Let the room adjust to your presence. Because in a world addicted to noise, the man who can sit still, stay calm, and keep building, he's the one who wins. Comment below. What boundary are you setting today? What are you done responding to? Speak it and own it. If this message hit you, share it. Send it to someone who's been giving away their power. And if you're serious about showing up different, subscribe. We drop this kind of daily motivation for the man who's ready to stop talking and start becoming. Let's raise the standard quietly.